All right, welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about a company that's, well, it's pretty much guaranteed to be a part of your healthcare experience, but I bet you've never even heard its name. We're talking about Henry Schein. I mean, have you ever really stopped to think about it? You go to the pharmacy or your dentist's office or the doctor, and all that stuff, the equipment, the supplies, even those little plastic vials for your pills, where does it all come from? Well, there's a really, really good chance a huge chunk of it comes from just one massive source. Think of it like the unseen engine of the entire healthcare industry, the quiet, essential company that just keeps everything running in the background. So how in the world does a company get that big while staying under the radar? Here's how we're going to break it down. We'll look at the giant behind healthcare, check out its global powerhouse status, see what's actually in their catalog, talk about what makes them more than just a distributor, and then wrap up with how they're staying ahead of the pack. Let's get into it. Okay, so first up, the giant behind healthcare. You know, to really get how a company reaches this size, you got to go all the way back to the beginning. So get this, it all started back in 1932 in Queens, New York. A pharmacist, Henry Schein himself, starts the whole thing with just $500. That's it. And from that one little pharmacy, it's ballooned into this massive publicly traded corporation now based out on Long Island. Pretty incredible, right? And look, when I say massive, I am not kidding. Let's try to wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this operation today. Time for a few numbers that are, well, they're pretty mind-boggling. Let's just start with the revenue, okay? In 2024, we're talking about 12.7 times billion dollars. To put that into perspective for you, that's more than the entire GDP of some countries. So yeah, this isn't just some successful company, it's a huge financial force in global healthcare. And you don't run an operation like that without a huge team, right? The company has over 25,000 employees all around the world. And we're not just talking about people in a warehouse. These are logistics experts, specialists in regulations, sales teams, the whole 9 yards, all working to keep that incredibly complex supply chain humming. And make no mistake, this is not just a US thing. That team is spread out across operations in more than 33 countries. So whether you're talking about a dentist in Germany or a clinic down in Australia, their network is there, serving healthcare pros all over the planet. That's what makes them a true global powerhouse. Okay, so we've established they're a global giant. But what are they actually selling to make all that money? Well, it really comes down to 3 main pillars of their business. At its core, Henry Schein is a distributor. Simple as that. They're moving medical and healthcare supplies, they're handling pharmaceuticals and vaccines, and they're providing all those essential pharmacy accessories and supplies. That's the trifecta. So let's dig into that first category a bit, the catalog. It's just staggering. We're talking about over 190,000 different medical products available. I mean, that's everything from super specialized surgical tools all the way down to the everyday PPE that, let's be honest, we all got way too familiar with recently. Now, for the pharma side of things, they're not just some random distributor. They are what's called an Approved Distributor of Record, or ADR. And this is a huge deal. What it means is they're an officially authorized, totally trusted partner for handling everything from brand name drugs to critical vaccines. It's all about making sure that supply chain is secure and rock solid. And that third pillar? Well, that brings us right back to where we started. All that stuff a pharmacy needs just to operate, the prescription packaging, the dispensing supplies, labels, containers, even some of the OTC and beauty products you see on the shelves. Yep, Henry Schein is very likely the one supplying them. And here's a key advantage, maybe the key advantage. They've built this integrated supply chain. So a doctor's office or a pharmacy doesn't need to juggle 3 different suppliers. Nope, they place one order with Henry Schein, and they can get their drugs, their medical supplies, and their accessories all in one shot. Talk about efficiency. But here's the thing, it's about so much more than just distribution. It's not just about shipping boxes. There's this whole other layer of services they offer, and that's really the secret sauce that builds such a loyal customer base. This is the Henry Schein advantage. First, they've got logistics and inventory support. Then, they use their massive size to get great group purchasing deals and competitive pricing for their clients. And maybe most importantly, they help practices navigate the absolute maze of regulations and compliance, like the super complex U.S. Drug Supply Chain Security Act. And if you want just one stat that sums up their commitment to excellence, get this. They claim a 99.9% order accuracy rate.
Just think about that for a second. In healthcare, where sending the wrong thing can have huge consequences, that level of precision isn't just impressive, it is absolutely essential.
All right, so let's zoom out and look at the big picture. How are they staying ahead of the pack? Because like any company this big, they have some incredible strengths, but they also have to deal with some pretty serious challenges.
So let's break down the strengths versus the headwinds. On the plus side, being that one-stop supplier, having that massive scale and trust, and their amazing logistics, those are huge wins. But on the flip side, they're dealing with really tight margins, competition is fierce, and when you're that big, you're always exposed to supply chain risks and changing regulations. It's a constant balancing act.
So when you boil it all down, Henry Schein is really that quiet, essential partner working in the background. They're the ones making sure your doctor's office, your local pharmacy, your dentist, all of them have what they need exactly when they need it. They're the engine that helps everything run. And that really leaves us with one big question to think about. As our healthcare system gets more and more complex and more specialized, just how vital is that distributor holding all the different pieces together? How important does that invisible engine become? Something to think about.